In 2005, David Foster Wallace, an American author, made a commencement speech for a graduating university class called Water. And you can find Water online. It's a very popular speech. And he talks about fish. Well, the fish are an allegory. He says, fish don't know what water is. And in this case, fish are people, and water is our thoughts. Not just any thoughts, but kind of the daily routine of our thoughts, the habitual default we find ourselves in. The point David Foster Wallace was getting at was that as human beings, we have the freedom to choose what to think about. We can choose to engage with our thoughts critically, and rather than fall into the default, we can choose what to think about. We can choose to think about things like kindness and empathy and being good to our fellow man, which I think is a good sentiment overall. That was in 2005. 3 years after that speech, David Foster Wallace killed himself. And not to make light of anyone's mental illness, but I don't think he did have the freedom to choose what to think about. I think he was very ill, and I think his mental health issues took him in the end. And I think that's kind of the hallmark of mental health issues. You don't get to choose what to think about. It's kind of thrusted upon you. In 2023, right now, at this very moment, it is 3 a.m. where I am. And I've been having a very depressive week. And it's the usual suspects: ideation, procrastination, unproductiveness, and a great deal of sadness. I've been mostly lounging about the house, feeling very sad, thinking about, oh, no one loves me, and I'm never going to be successful at what I do, or whatever. Depression doesn't always make sense. And it's been a very difficult couple of days for me. And I wanted to do something productive. I wanted to make something out of, this depressive episode I was in. And I couldn't really. Because I didn't have any insight, anything relevant or perhaps hopeful to say about depression. If I had made this video a couple days ago, it would have began and ended with, I am depressed. That doesn't help anyone. It's 3 a.m. right now, and I feel a lot more productive in the middle of the night when all my friends are asleep and I feel existentially lonely. It makes me anxious, and I wanna fill that gap in my life by doing something productive. I woke up from a very unusual dream, which we'll get back to because it's related to our topic of depression. But to give you some context, a long time ago, I had found this Reddit comment, and I don't really remember the context of it, but I do remember the story, and it was just some guy, and he said that when he was feeling depressed, he would close his eyes and he would imagine himself as a very old person, He'd imagine himself with wrinkly skin and gray hair and, like an old guy. And then when he opened his eyes again, he would be a young person. And then that would be a perspective thing for him. And he would realize that he had time to do things. And that was kind of a weird story, but I enjoyed the sentiment, and it stuck with me through all these years. I had a very unusual dream where I was this very powerful queen. And, I'm not down with the royalty or anything, but I think it was just an allegory my subconscious mind is trying to make. But I was at the very end of my life. I was this old, but still very beautiful queen. And I had lived a very good life. But, it was at the very end of it. And then I woke up. And I realized, I still have time. I still have time to do things. There's still so many decisions to be made. There's still so many paths to go down. And that really put into context my depression for me. These past few days, it's just been like, oh man, I don't want to think these sad thoughts. I want to get through this. And I didn't really know how to get through it. But you know what? I got through it. I feel fine right now. And it sucked while I was going through it, but I got through it. And I still have time. I still have so much to do. And it's so many different paths to go down. And I don't know. It feels good to think about. It's 3 a.m. and I wanted to make this video, and hopefully it helps someone out there with my weird little epiphanies that happen in the middle of the night. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I had to say, really.